Welcome back to the channel. Today, build update number 6 on Mike's 36 Ford Roadster. So the biggest thing, honestly, today we pulled chassis off the jig table. So that it kind of signifies that we've got some critical points figured out, like motor tranny position. The body is pretty well positioned on the chassis. Couldn't tell you. It's music. That's happened to me before. I walked in the morning and I just hear doof, doof. From some blown out speaker. Okay, after that interruption, when we take the body and chassis out of the jig table, that kind of signifies that we've got some critical points figured out. Typically, motor tranny is located, the body is sitting on top of the chassis at a stance and ride height that we want. It's overall been fit so that we know the position and body mounts are done and stuff like that. The floor is not in this car, but overall the body is in an okay spot. We still do need to fine tune it before we get the floor in, but it's just a great point to make it to. It's spent a decent amount of time up there. It's been cut apart in the rotisserie, been in many pieces, and it's starting to see it coming back together. So the motor mounts are in. We got a really cool radiator from Johnson's Radiator. They took over Alan Johnson, which is a builder I've looked up to for my whole career. He bought Walker Radiator, which is a super old company, is keeping it going and just doing a great job with it. So I can call him and talk to him and told him what we're trying to do and so on. So it was super helpful. Basically what we did with the radiator specifically was this tank is a stock style tank. The core is a stock style core, but we had them move the core forward on the tank. And that gave us a little bit more clearance for the electric fan. That was something we were fighting on this, trying to get the firewall position, an adequate fan. This cooling components fan is about as slim as you can get and still have enough pulling power to keep this thing cool. Did the Holley mid-mount pulley system, the LS, all this stuff coming together, being serviceable, working well, was a trick. It's always tight in these cars, but we've got everything in a pretty good spot. So it's great to see. We also did like the Delmo Speeds distributor, Delstributor, I think he calls it. Just kind of a fake way to put the coils in a circle, run all the wires. That had to get notched into the firewall. It's looking really good. We got condenser and tranny cooler going up front on the radiator. That's to come. We got the manifolds in. Yeah, there's like a whole bunch of balls up in the air right now, basically, and we're trying to figure out what the next step is. So I talk about this a lot with guys and with customers. When you're in this stage where so many things are up in the air, and we went through this on the Charger heavily, you find something that you know is concrete. Okay, the engine can go here, the driveline angle is this is where the radiator has to sit because it's as far forward as we can. Now we can work back off of that with the best components we can come up with. You find these little things and you nail them down, and you kind of get direction as the project goes, and that's super important. And if you're a home builder, it's kind of the same thing. You can look at everything and get overwhelmed, look at everything, but find something you can do, nail it down, and move forward. So anyways, that's been a lot of what's been going on, and a lot of stuff's been getting nailed down, so we can pull it off the table like this, and it's good to see. So we've spent a decent amount of time fitting up body panels and getting those all within reason before we commit to the idea of the body being where it's going to be and putting the floor in. That whole engine setup is coming together really cool. Inside the car, you can see now the transmission is mounted, cross member that's removable. The engine cross member is mounted. That's all. We just used all the Art Morrison stuff, like their universal parts, and then built brackets on the end of them. When I talk about serviceability, that transmission mount can be dropped out so the tranny can come out the bottom, of course. The engine cross member can be dropped out so the pan can be serviced. All these little things that we're thinking about as we're working through this. Our driveline angle is figured out, and now we can kind of start to work around it. So we have a shifter here that we'll be using to help locate the seat. We've got a seat frame here that we're going to be using. We'll probably be modifying it a little bit, but it's no big deal at this point because all the foam and stuff will have to be built later. So getting a lot of the bones set up. We've got a couple different rendering ideas that we've been working with Tavis Highlander on the dash, and Mike and all of us have been collaborating on that. So that'll be really cool to see come together. A Rad Ride steering column, which I've always wanted to use one of those since I've seen them. Figuring out where that's going to kind of come through the firewall. We've got a brake booster to figure out. So when I talk about all these different things, they're all very important. We just incrementally work through them. So we're going to be chopping the car a little bit. In my head, one of the biggest things right now is we need to get some of this stuff kind of thrown in with the steering column and everything, figure out where the steering column is going to come through, but ultimately get Mike to come sit in this seat because he's the one that needs to be comfortable in it. He needs to, everybody's got kind of different styles of sitting. I've had people that are shorter than me that have the seat way far back because that's how they're used to it, and the opposite. So that's very important to not overlook. So we'll get Mike out here soon to sit in it, and we'll play around with it some more. He's got a steering wheel that he ordered that he found at a, I think, Grand National Roadster show. He met a guy there that made a wheel that he really liked. So we'll get that soon. Yeah, making sure the top is gonna work. I know the seat's gonna go back. So Cody was spending some time today getting all that position where about it was comfortable for him. But we can only go so far back because the top does fold down. So I have to keep an eye on that as well as we work through it. We've got this mock-up unit. These are kind of cool. Probably more for just like shops, but they're really handy to have. Vintage Air makes these evaporators that don't have any internals in them. So you're basically just buying a case, but they go through and they put like the little computer that's just a case on here. So it's located. They got their billet manifold for the AC line. So you can literally build the whole AC system around this unit and never worry about filling the core up with stuff or, getting shavings in the electric motor and so on. So we've been using this in and out from under the dash to get it all fit up, which has been super handy. We must have 3 or 4 of these different sized units now. And then we also recently got the ECU. We're gonna use a Haltech on this. One of the tuners we've been using, Kenny, really likes Haltech, and some of the features of them is kind of cool because you can run PWM right off of them. So you can power like your electric fans and your fuel pump, and it's a pulse width module, so it can have like variable speeds and everything built into the unit versus having to use like a trigger wire to a secondary module that then powers your fans for your brushless stuff or whatever it is. So it's a little bit more integrated, a little bit more controlled, and then you can expand off of it too. He explains it as being pretty similar to doing the Terminator stuff, so we should be able to kind of ease right into it and get that system built, and he'll support us when we have questions. And then all the modules, like when you add the transmission controller, it's just an expansion onto the engine side of it, so it all talks together. But you get some of that with the other computers, but I'm excited to use this. He seemed really amped up about it. It was like me being excited to something and him doing that to me, and it was like, okay, I get it. So overall, a lot of things coming together, a lot of things getting figured out. Great to see this thing kind of down on its feet, if you will, off the table and moving forward. We've got, if you saw the other build update, you saw some of the stuff we were doing to the back end. We're talking about doing, it's like kind of like a recessed spare tire. We got the wheel tubs all in there and done up. So we've got massive rear wheels on it now. A lot of repairs have been done back here on the rear section of the body. We're going to retain the rumble seat. So we got some cool things we're doing with the tail lights to come. Tavis did a whole rendering of the outside. It's a Brixton Forge wheel that we're going to be using, so I'm excited to get those ordered and see that, and yeah, just start to get a little bit more of a picture of what the car's going to look like as a whole. So Mike and Sherry are fantastic to work with. They're a lot of fun. I'm actually going to see them going to the Portland Roadster show this weekend to display the Charger and some of our pull style door handles and line clamps. Catch up with them there because they're kind of from that area, a couple hours from us, but that makes it a lot of fun. I try to keep the customers as involved as possible through the project as much as they want to be. There's customers that want to be right there with it, in there with you, and you need to know that from the beginning. You need to know how to treat that and tailor the process for them. And there's other guys or gals that'll kind of stand back a little bit and let you do your thing. So yeah, it's great. It's a good balance. So Mike's a lot of fun, and I know he's going to be going to a lot of shows with this car, and it's cool, kind of honored to be building this car for him, because I know, he's retired now. I know he's been wanting to do something like this for a long time. We've been talking for a long time, and yeah, it's good. It's great. So when I talk about panel fitment, because that is something that we spent a lot of time on in this phase of the project. If you don't know, I'm referencing how all the gaps work out and how they are related to each other. There's several different elements that we're looking at when we're doing it. One being the physical gap of the panel to the panel it's mated up against. And then also the level of the panel as it flows into the other panel, and then the overall panel flow. So are the doors coming together like this, or are they coming together like this, so that when you sight down the side of the car, it's as even of a reflection as possible. All those things that I just described take a very skilled person to be able to see and adjust and work around. So Cody's been doing the bulk of the fit up on this car recently, and it's really coming together good there. I always try to look at the car and assume that it fit originally, and try to take it all the way to the point where it's like, okay, this actually is a factory flaw because of this and this and this. I think a lot of people get themselves in trouble when they start to cut too early, basically, and assume, oh, this gap is just screwed up, so I'm going to weld onto it. And that gets you in trouble, and you chase yourself all the way down the car. So when we're doing fit on a car, we have to find the things that are concrete, just like I'm talking about when we're doing a full build. So it's always great to start with the door opening. So that's more or less where we started when we went through that process, because it is a fixed point more or less from the cowl to the quarter panel, and that gap needs to be one way and that line needs to be a certain way. So there's certain things about that that kind of nail down how that fits. The rear fender has to fit up into that opening. We did have to make a little bit of repairs to how that fits, and that still needs to be finished up. The running board has a certain, when the fender goes on, it comes down to the bottom of the body here, which kind of locates where this is. And then the running board is a certain length. So then you go off of that. Your fender is a certain length. All those pieces fit tight together. Now we've got our door fit fender into a running board to the front fender. Now we're getting to a point where here our grill shell is. The top of the grill shell is set off of a distance of the hood and the cowl. So all these things kind of work together, and you always end up, like I'm talking about the door to rear fender and forward, you always end up back at the rear fender when you're working on the hood at some point, because how much a little movement here changes everything. And when we're trying to take a car to a point where you can take a sanding block and scuff across two panels and have them line up perfectly flat, you have to pay attention to all that. So it's very important to do that at this stage, especially, it's kind of hard right now because the body's so flimsy without a floor in it. We need to get it really close to where we can, do that. But in all reality, right now, the body's so flimsy. You open and close the door, you tweak on one thing, and all of a sudden something else doesn't fit because it doesn't have any stability to it. But another thing that's important when you're going through this process that we have set up in here is doing things like installing the proper cowl lace. So we've got a cowl lace in here right now, and that, especially on a single layer hood, is really critical, because when that hood actually like stretches around that cowl lace on this car and sets this level here, which eventually holds the height of the hood up here and sets that gap all the way to the front. Putting weather stripping on the car is always a good thing, because there's just pressures that, when you're looking at it really close, it's always better to make those changes when it's in bare steel. There's been times where the weather stripping sits in the door jamb. Maybe from the factory, it varied a little bit and created a tight spot. There's times where we'll modify the door jamb to correct the weather stripping tolerance. And we can do that when it's in bare metal. Just kind of that mock-up phase that creates a good car in the end. But it's hard to do. It's hard to, I don't want to say justify, but like it is hard to justify the amount of time it takes to do that now when it doesn't feel like it's that important, but it always pays off in the end. Another thing that we will do, and we're kind of keeping in mind as we go through the process, is we will get to a point in fab where we'll take the body obviously off the frame, we'll paint the frame, we'll paint the bottom of the body, and then bolt it down for good. So our final fit, that might even include some grinding and welding here and there, will be with a finished chassis and a finished underbody. Because every time you take this thing apart and put it back together, you tighten things in a different sequence, body mounts compress differently, etc., and that changes the fit. So it's a process, but this is phase one of the fit. We haven't really done any gap work as far as welding on edges and everything, so this is all original how it sits right now. And when you look at it this close, you do start to notice little things that maybe nobody even knows. Maybe it was like this from the factory, but the tops of the fenders right now are basically level. The grill shell is basically level. This is something important to watch on these cars, is where the bumpers come out of the fenders, because that has to line up with the frame rail. So that's true on the frame right now. Tops of the fenders are good. The headlight stanchions are really close, but these horn grills are off. And the bottom of the fenders are slightly different. So chances are that's a 1936 thing, but it just kind of bothers you now that you start looking at everything else. But really, when it's on the ground, you just don't even notice it. And no matter how far you go with the tape measure and stuff, at the end of the day, you need to please the eye. That's kind of what's important. Thanks for watching build update number 6. If you liked it, like it. If you have a question, ask it. And make sure you check out our website for all the products that we make and build machine in-house based off of the builds that we're doing and the knowledge that we have around those. So thanks for watching.